Ladies and gentlemen, I do not want you to be afraid, but tonight, here on Top Hill Recording Podcast, we have a very special episode. We have a Halloween episode, our first really special episode ever. But what we do here on Top Hill Recording Podcast is we ask an artist, a band, a musician to come in and give us 4 original tunes. We talk about those tunes, and we talk about the band, where they come from, where they're going, all those good things. But tonight, special guest for our Halloween episode. Could not be more fitting. The songs were perfect for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Molly's Midnight Villains.
Yeah!
All right.
Join me by the campfire, whatever you are. I know that you're out there in the trees, in the dark. And I know that you're hungry and thirsty for blood. It's been a long day for everyone.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Look up at the night sky, see what you see. The soft glow of a massive ship flying past silently. I bet they would fly that thing straight on into the sun. It's been a long day for everyone. Whatever you are, you don't have to be alone out there in the dark. We're all just creatures growing ever more thirsty for blood. It's been a long day for everyone. The wind whispers quiet schemes. Must be the season of a Hallows Eve. Open up my window. The sky outside is gray. Dawn begins reluctantly, cautious of this day. Out there in the fog, a deer stands in the road. Her eyes reflect a churning storm of every kind of ghost. The day will get no brighter, the temperature will cool. A fair day for the Queen of Cups, a rough day for the fool. The wind whispers quiet schemes. Must be the season of a Hallows Eve. The future comes in faint. The images are black and white. The storyline is vague. Somewhere there's a creature. Somewhere someone screams. Ancient orders break apart like brittle autumn leaves. You better start your kettle. You'd better grab your broom. Unexpected visitors will call upon you soon. The wind whispers quiet schemes. Must be the season of All Hallows Eve. It must be the season of the wind whispers quiet schemes. Must be the season of All Hallows Eve.
One, two, three, four.
My condemned little cabin alone in the woods. I rock in my chair on the porch. The boards creak uneasily underfoot, and I note something moves in the trees to the north. I grip buds and cup in my calloused hands. The smell of the whiskey singes the air. I grimace at what I feel on the wind as the dark forest calls me near. What evil is out there in this lonesome wild place? What sort of evil prowls my way? And wind calls me with eager excitement to giddy abandon under the stars. My hands grow alive, I pulse with new life. A low earthy growl escapes my jaws. A thing like the river, a vile accursed beast, cracking bones like tossed rune stones. I delight in my disastrous feast. What evil is here in these lonesome wilds? By what ruthless hunger am I transformed? The moon howls through me. You will come to me, shed your name and be reborn. What evil is out there in this lonesome wild place? What evil is here that I must face? What evil is here that I must loud with an odd little crowd. The same creatures living under my bed. They're loose on the streets when the sun is at rest. Strange, strange friends. I take my place at the bar, become a part of the set. With a woman in gold and a cat and a crow and a couple of cold-gone men. The moon will play tricks on us time and again. Strange, strange friends. I sit among lost souls who can't find any rest. I share drinks with the sinful, the saintly, the worst, and the best. And I'll still be here after this life ends with my strange, strange friends. Strange friends, strange, strange friends. Strange friends, strange, strange friends, strange friends, strange friends.
Spooky.
That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Welcome.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Brad,
you.
take over, man. I feel like you got this one tonight.
Oh, well, okay. Well, why don't you guys start out? Just tell us how you came together to be Molly's Midnight Villains, how long you've been together, and what kind of started the witchy, spooky vibes you guys have.
Yeah, I guess we started playing together a little over 6 years ago, and it started out very different from where it is right now, because Molly was doing like sort of cover sets, and I was sitting in occasionally on lead guitar, and it changed a lot once we started writing together.
Once we actually came up with a band name, and we were, so when I was doing cover sets and everything, I was just under my own name, and when I was Tom had started writing some original songs, and I was like, oh, we should come up with a band name, but maybe my name should be in it. Sorry, so that the people who come to the shows can
they still know it's Molly Broadhurst.
It's me, and little did I realize that when you're doing cover shows versus original music, it's a completely different audience.
So no one hung around from the old days.
Regardless, it's such a cool name.
Oh, thank you.
It's a very, very cool name.
We spent some time. We we looked on the internet, make sure there's nobody else who has the same name. So we did our research on that.
Yeah, we wanted something that if you punched into Google or whatever, there would just be the one result.
So when you all started writing, you went from the cover thing into, you talked about how it's changed a lot. When you were writing originally, was there an intent on what you all were writing, or was it just we're going to write songs, or how did it get to the point to where?
It started out pretty different from where it's at now, because I was kind of writing songs for where Molly was at the time with a very, she has a very like folky background, and I was writing songs. I was like, these will be cool for her voice and stuff. And they weren't necessarily like very spooky yet. I feel like that sort of came about from like a mutual interest in that sort of like vibe, and like that allowed me to do more of because I have a very like metal sort of background, and I just kept wanting to work in those
the weird diminished chords,
the diminished chords and whatever else, the chromatic stuff.
I think that like, so when we first were doing original stuff, Tom was writing songs, but I wasn't really I didn't feel super confident about songwriting. I had only written like 1 or 2 songs in the past. I thought, I can't do that. I'm not really good at that. But Tom is a very supportive and encouraging individual. So I just, I kind of just felt like I could try stuff out. And we both do have like a very strong background in like literature and like mythology.
We met in a bookstore.
Yeah.
We both worked at a bookstore together.
Okay.
So,
Very nice.
that's an original meeting.
Yeah, that's a big influence. So like, I feel like for me when I'm writing stuff, I feel like the lyrics actually do sometimes look like metal lyrics, where power metal is like, you're on a mountain and there's a dragon, or something, and I'm kind of like, that's kind of what I'm doing some of the time, but in a folky way, because that's where I'm coming from.
You showed me some of your old poetry from college, and it was all about Norse mythology. And I was reading it, I was like, these are basically a Monomarth lyrics.
Which I didn't even know. Because I was not very familiar with metal stuff, but like getting into it, I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect. This is exactly the kind of thing. But so it's, it's just like, that's an influence, but it's not really like, I don't know. Yeah, we're writing folk music, but the lyrics and some of the chord, stuff is very metal influenced.
Yeah,
it's very, very unique. I consider it very much kind of your own thing.
Thank you.
It seems very original to marry those styles and those type of sounds together to create what you all have. I said off camera that you all complement each other very, very well, and by that is what you're doing lyrically and melodically, and what you're doing, not only because you're holding down the rhythm like a pro as well. I mean, you're an amazing rhythm guitar player as long as a songwriter and singer and melody line. But Tom, like some of the stuff you're one of my favorite guitar players to come through, just because what you do is so unique I think it serves the song so well, and not only is it ridiculously crazy and good, and seeing the accuracy of your playing, but all that is great if it was set in something, but the fact that those two things coexist and mingle so well together really kind of creates this special thing that I think Brad talked about when he was listening to the cans. He's like, man, these are going to be amazing.
I can't wait to start working on the songs you guys did. It sounded great just raw. I can't wait to hear the finished product.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Tom, as far as talking about guitar, when did you start? How did you get into music, and what age? And
I started playing guitar when I was 14. It was shortly before I turned 15. I got a guitar. Initially, it was something my older sister had been learning some guitar, and so there was one around the house, and I picked it up and started noodling on it. And there was a friend of my older brother's that, showed me a lot of things. He wasn't like really a guitar teacher per se. He taught me a lot though about like song structures and I don't know. So I had a little bit of like an unconventional start, I guess.
Were you listening to metal at that point?
I was born listening to metal because my brother is 10 years older than me, and like he was.
Oh, he was like, in the middle of it. My God, he was in the midst.
Yeah,
he could either go hardcore metal or a hairband, and he went metal, right? Got you.
Which I like the hairband.
Hairbands
too.
are right, too.
I got into a lot of that stuff early on. I learned a lot of like Def Leppard and stuff like that. And that's something, my brother's friend, he used a lot of those songs as like examples of like, solid like pop songwriting. And he used to like make me sit and analyze those things, like, how many bars is, the verse before it gets to the chorus or pre-chorus or whatever. And
I feel like your background, that like whole thing, it just makes you such a better composer for like, your guitar solos are so not just like, this is me like running scales really fast or something like that. It's very like a composition, like you said, it serves the song.
It's a song service for sure.
Yeah, it's very much like this is a. I like to say that Molly's Midnight Villains is like there's two voices. It's my actual voice and Tom's guitar solos, and I kind of just want to like start saying that to song or to sound producers, at shows like. This needs to be every bit as loud as the vocal because it's really important to the song.
It's very thoughtful of you to think that and say that because it's very true. It is very true that because one thing that we did before we started recording is we had to get the amp out because there was that marriage of what you were doing and what Tom was doing. You could hear it, but you couldn't hear it. But once we kind of separated that, you can really hear where all of that fits so well. So totally agree. Totally agree with you. I would like to ask you where your influences are because I you have such a unique style and unique vocal presence. So I would love to know where that comes from, where you're getting your influences.
My dad is a musician and he's been always playing my whole life, basically like every morning where we're waking up.
You can't stop him.
Yeah, you can't stop him. He is just playing all the time. Yeah, he plays basically any stringed instrument my dad can just sort of pick up and play, but he's not trained in any way. He never really went to school for it in any way or took any classes or anything like that. He's just really good at it. And so he was always playing stuff when I was growing up and everything. He plays a lot of sort of classic 60s folk and rock stuff, CCR and Grateful Dead. The band, the big influence, and the Animals, and just a lot of bands like that. And so, I was hearing all that stuff. I knew his versions of them better than I ever knew, the real versions of those songs. And a lot of times I still haven't even heard the real version of the song. But yeah, so I mean, that folk influence was really strong, and that sort of 60s and 70s rock and folk.
All right, interesting.
Influence.
What about? Were you ever into Jefferson Airplane?
Yeah. I mean, I like some Jefferson Airplane for sure.
So Ron Weston over here, who is Brad's father, and has set in on some podcasts. He walked in the door and said, "Man, she has such a beautiful voice. She really kind of sounds like the lady from Jefferson Airplane."
Grace Slick.
Grace Slick, yeah.
They said Grace Slick.
Great.
I said,
She's awesome, That's a good compliment.
That's a big compliment. And then, of course, it's one of those things. Once you hear it, you go, "Oh yeah, it definitely has the cool vibe of that." Definitely,
thank you.
Thing.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Well, kind of interestingly enough, Tom is a friend of the pod. He's been here before, but he was here as a drummer last time for Earl's band. Earl sitting over here, still here.
I'm still
just
here.
over here. So, man, how did you guys form this? How did you become Earl's drummer in this situation, especially being the uber talented musician that you are?
Thank you.
To go, all right, Earl, I guess I'll give you some of my time.
I bothered the shit out of it. That's the answer. But we met at Katie did its open mic.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
We
right on.
mentioned her open mics many times on the pod. And
Yeah.
For sure.
we love Katie and the open mics,
Yeah.
and that's how we met.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, I just had I feel like a Facebook memory not that long ago where you and I jammed at an open mic for the first time where you just set it on lead guitar. We played We Get
geez.
Along. And
Oh.
I rewatched that video the other day and I was like, oh, this is so fun.
Yeah.
And then one day Tom posted a video playing just drums at his apartment. And I hit him up and asked, and he didn't really say yes. And I bothered him a few more times about it. And finally, he invited me over. And him and I don't know, we practiced for, probably a couple months, just the two of us before we found a bass player. And then Jason, who you've met on the podcast, joined the band and spin Slater. But yeah, I just bothered the shit out of the real answer. I asked multiple times. And it's good to have you all on. You are like my strange friends. And, you've been very kind to me, and we practiced at your all's place. Like tonight was awesome. Like I said off the podcast, I mean, it sounds just like the recordings. You all are such a tight band. You can tell that you all spend a lot of time working together and practicing together. It's a really tight thing. Like I talk about here a lot, where I really respect like a 3-piece band, because whoever's in the lead has to really be able to play guitar. As a 2-piece band, there's even less room to hide, and you all fill out a lot of sound with your voice because you're picking. It is just like, it's a great thing. And I know we're kind of in your big season now, and but you're not just a seasonal band. I mean, your all's music is great all the time, but I know it is kind of like your heyday right now. And you just played a pretty cool festival. Will you tell us a little bit about that? I know it's Dark Castle, correct?
Yes, Dark Castle.
It's like a goth festival, and it's really cool because they did it across 3 days, and the first day it was a lot more of the sort of folk and rock adjacent kind of gothy stuff, because most of the rest of it, is like new wave, dark wave, industrial,
which is what you usually get for gothic, goth festivals or goth nights and places. Is a lot of sort of more electronic music usually and stuff like that, which is cool too. I do love that stuff, but it's also like, it's so cool to be included. It's so cool to be recognized as like sort of a gothic band. And so I really appreciated Sean Rigsby is the person who put together the festival at Art Sanctuary, Dark Castle, and he actually, really digs folk music, and so he had great people like Iris Marlowe, who's from Chicago, and she's coming back to play with us again in October.
Oh, sweet!
On October 10th, and then
playing with us on the 11th.
Playing with Earl Bowman on the 11th, and the Dead Speak were supposed to play. They didn't end up being able to make it, but they're another one that's like a great we've played with them a bunch. They're a great, like, sort of gothic influenced, but more in the vein of like
sort of rockabilly.
Almost, sort of rockabilly slash folk punk slash rock stuff. And they're a great band and great people, and so
Saddle of Southern Darkness.
Oh yeah,
there, and they're like a, I don't know, spooky country kind of thing, and just great. Great dudes.
Sort of heavy country.
Yeah, sort of country with a metal influence.
Yeah.
So
it all kind of fits together. These are all people that we're like, we've played with before, that we found, and we're like, we have to play with them. So cool that he got them all for this very,
The goth Americana world is pretty small, so we try to hang together.
And I know you all have been up to some other stuff too. You told me making a video, so tell us a little bit about that. Like, I know you're working with some people helping you out, so just tell us about the video and what's up.
Black Rainbow is a record label that's local, and they're really sweet people, really good friends of ours, and
they're helping us out with the video. They're really good at videography stuff. They did, I think, all of the Dead Speaks videos that they have out. And they do really great work. So we're doing something just kind of throwing together a fun, campy horror kind of video for our newest song.
In the vein of Twilight Zone slash... well, I don't know if anybody knows the Larry Blameyer movies, but campy, goofy B-movie type of things. It's so there's a wolf man and like a Cthulhu creature, like a mask that I made, and like so there's just going to be like monsters being spooky, and there's some black and white stuff, and it's just a really, it's just going to be fun, pure fun, so. And it's for the song that one of the songs we did tonight was just Somewhere Someone Screams.
Oh yeah, the latest release, right?
Yeah, latest release. We just did it on Friday the 13th.
So tell us about,
we had to.
Tell us about that song. How'd that come about?
Well, that's a Tom song.
Yeah. How did that come about? I'm trying to think. I had been the verse chord progression. I had been kicking around ideas. I wanted to do like a minor 2-5-1 thing for forever because I don't know. Lots of times I'm just like jamming to like backing tracks on YouTube, which is probably a lame way to spend my time, but that's what I do. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
So, I was like, we should have like a minor 2-5-1 kind of song because it fits the vibe of a lot of what we do. So I had that idea sitting around for a while, and it kind of grew from there. It's very, it came together at the point where I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of an homage to Donovan's Season of the Witch, so that helped, point the lyrics in a direction where it's like almost, lightly paranoid prophecy kind of thing, like Season of the Witch has, And I really like the way it came together in the studio because we did some different things. I put washboard on it.
Yeah, and, Tom was playing 2 washboards at once.
Yeah, sweet.
I got to play at the studio we go to, Sneak Attack. He has an old Hammond organ there, and I played that on the track.
Leslie cabinet that sounds like a train or something.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that once you put it in the studio, it doesn't come out.
Oh, yeah.
3,000 pounds, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it sounds great,
I'm really happy with the production. That's one of the few times that we've done. Well, I don't think we've done very many layered harmonies or anything like that. I did a little bit of layered harmony on it. And, just really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I mean, all your stuff sounds great. I hope, honestly, you put out the stuff you recorded here today.
Yeah, it sounded so good.
Thank you.
No doubt.
It's always good to see and hear you play. I want to keep talking because I know you all have stuff too. But another thing I wanted to mention before I forgot is like you all make some of the coolest merch there is.
Thanks.
Like you've made some very cool stuff. If you want to talk a little bit about just some of the cool, like you've had multiple. I've even entered raffles to try to win some of your old stuff. Tell us a little bit about some of the cool shit that y'all make.
A lot of our stuff, most of our like merch is like in-house designed or in-house made. Like we do, I think basically every t-shirt design we've had probably has been stuff that we've designed.
Yeah. Molly's like a full-time artist, like outside of like even doing the band because she does like a craft business. Also.
Visual stuff?
So,
Very cool stuff. A bunch of stuff at your all's place that I get to admire when we're at
Oh, dude, I bet it's ridiculous. Like, oh, I want one of those.
Stone Fang Curiosities is my like art business.
Where can on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram.
Say that one more time.
Stone Fang Curiosities.
Stone Thing.
Stone Fang.
Stone Fang.
That's my goblin name. Given to me at the Ren Fair.
Stone Fang Curiosity.
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure everybody knows that because that's one thing I've talked about on this podcast a million times. Well, we haven't had that many episodes, but you know what is my jealousy of visual artists, man. I love somebody that can, taking something out of nothing with paper is cool, but being able to visually create a thing, it blows my mind. So, Stone Fang Creation.
Stone Fang Curiosities.
Curiosity. Jeez, dude.
I do like. I do a lot of like journals and things like that for the, for my Stone Fang stuff. But then, I just every time we get an idea for like a merch item, I'm like, what if I just make it? I get so excited about it. So we've definitely had like a bunch of different T-shirts that we designed, and then like we get them printed at Relentless Merch.
That's a really good screen printing company because we come up with these good ideas and the art looks really good. We go with them because they'll print it really big on the shirt.
It's huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
If somebody's walking down the street wearing your shirt, you can see it from really far away.
dig that.
Yeah.
Which we've seen.
Yeah, which is nice.
And any musicians listening, I recommend getting soft t-shirts because that makes such a huge difference for how often we see people wearing our shirts all the time. And I think it's because they're so comfortable. I mean, they like our band, but it's you know, it's important to have comfortable shirts.
I'll attest right now. I'll be your what's it called? Your study group on this. One of my favorite things in the world, and the thing I get stupid excited about is when a band or somebody brings me merch. Mostly like stickers. It's dumb because we got a sticker closet in there that I put all the stickers of all the bands that give me stickers. But if I get a shirt, man, I would love to wear a shirt of a band that's been on or a local band every single time. I've worn them all. But there are a couple that I will wear less because they suck to wear.
Yeah, they're scratchy or something. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
The quality of the shirt matters.
It does.
It really
needs to be
does.
You got to
comfortable.
pay up a little bit for the soft style.
Pay the $2
It's
extra
worth
dollars
it.
or the
It's
$4,
worth
whatever
it.
it
Yeah,
is.
it is worth it because every time somebody wears that shirt, it's like a little advertisement for you, you know, just walking around. That's,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, and with the creative brains that you guys have, I can imagine the merch is really, really cool. So,
Thanks.
soft shirts and cool ideas equal amazing merch.
I just made I sculpted this little, like, it's like a dragon kind of thing on like he's like on a little plaque kind of shape and made magnets out of that. And I made like a mold of the sculpt and cast like resin duplicates of it so I could make magnets. That's like kind of, you know, it's not really, I'm not really like a resin worker. There's a lot of people doing resin who are like really good at it, but you know, it's something that I really like it. Yeah, it's just, it's a really fun thing. So those are like a very special merch item that we just did. Like we're going to do a limited run of them. They're each hand painted and stuff like that.
Hand done.
So.
Made in the USA too.
When did you get started with that? With the visual arts? Is that something you...
I've just kind of always been into art, but I did study different kinds of art in college. I was doing stone sculpting and ceramic sculpting, and you know, I just kind of do a lot of mixed media kind of stuff. So I mean, yeah, I've basically been doing it since I was a kid. I've always been into like drawing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and more recently, I've kind of actually like finally gotten around to painting. It's funny because I'll say something about like I am an artist, and people will be like, "What kind of? Oh, so you do paintings?" They like assume that it's painting.
that's your
Painting was
thing.
like the last thing I got into, you know, because it was like, to me, it was like
That's
daunting.
intimidating. Yeah,
it's
that's
intimidating.
intimidating.
But I've gotten more into it through kind of coming at it from the side where I was doing these other things. But yeah, I feel like the band is a big inspiration for a lot of art things. One of our merch items that we did too was I did a lyric book for our album Outlaw Witchcraft. It's just like the album before this past one. And every page is like a collage or art piece that I did by hand. So it was just like a huge labor of love.
It is very cool. I have one. It is cool. It is very, very cool. Like I said, you have great merch. Everything you make is top notch.
Thank you so much.
It's hard to have good merch.
Not only good merch, but I mean something like that is so so thoughtful.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
unique,
people
you know?
like stuff that's unique. Like, I mean, everyone has CDs and stuff. Like, I have CDs. You all have CDs too. But it's like those kind of odd items that you're like, ooh. And besides that, you give away stuff too. I mean, you have buttons and stickers and whatnot that you just give away. I have those as well.
Yeah, we make the buttons at the library. There's a maker space there, so we just do those all ourselves.
Yeah,
sweet.
highly recommend that as well to other musicians.
You need to get
That's
to
cheap.
your
Get a
local
library card. What is
Yeah,
wrong
for
with
sure.
you? For sure.
It's a good way to do it. I mean, God, you know, we pay like 10 cents a button.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And I will tell you right now, man, I got Libby for the library audiobook. It's the best. Get a library card, people.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Support the library.
Support the library. I mean, the library. Oh, man. It's one of my favorite. This is pre-MP3s and all that stuff. And Actually, your old band has a cool one. But one of my favorite things back in the day, and I'm sure back in the old record days and things like that, was being able to open it up and having something physical in your hand that you can read lyrics and I can think of a few bands, but just off the top of my head, one that comes to mind is like Pearl Jam always had a really interesting booklet with their lyrics. A lot of times it was handwritten. A lot of times it was, it's kind of in the same thing. There was visual art going on top of those lyrics that kind of just drew you into it. It made you more invested in what's going on.
Right.
So the fact that you have that type of ability to match the arts and bring the visual side and the lyrical side and the musical side and all those things together inside of your music as well as all the other things that you do. I think it's a testament to the authenticity of what you all do as a group.
Thank you.
So super unique.
Yeah, I feel like our lyrics are just really important to us and stuff. So we just kind of, I always want to think of ways to emphasize them. And
you do the bookmarks too.
Oh, yeah.
She makes bookmarks that have lyrics on them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like emphasizing the art side of it is another thing that was really important to me. Again, coming from like a metal background, because it's like the physical media and the art. It's like, where that's died out for a lot of other genres, it's never died out for metal, especially like death metal. It's
so
like
the cool
physical,
album art.
Yeah, the physical media and the art and which artist did your album cover still of the top importance. So
and I feel like artists need to support each other too. I mean, getting your album art made by a real person, when you are yourself a different kind of artist. This is all important. We are all doing something support. That's we need each other. So
100%. That that's we talk about it a lot on this podcast, but that's probably a thing I love about the Louisville, Kentuckiana music community is there's a lot of that. I think of Tom playing drums with Earl. I think of Spencer playing guitar with me and with Earl and with other people. I think of your visual art on top of everything else you do. I think of you singing with Sad Black Lab at Fuzzy Pig. There's just this huge community. You played as well with them that night. It was just, there's this cohesiveness of people supporting each other and buying into each other's stuff and really being fans of each other. And the uniqueness of that doesn't like pass me up. I think sometimes people don't have the perception of what is happening. I think that they think there's this competitiveness and there's this, and sometimes there is, but it's so much more people supporting each other and inside this little bubble that we have. I feel very, very lucky.
Absolutely.
To have it, and you guys are prime examples of that. I'd be the same as Earl and same as Spencer. And I just, sometimes you got to take a step back and feel lucky about things.
I just got to ask, you guys have your Halloween costume picked out?
I've got a couple.
What's it going to be?
Right, what we got?
Well, I mean, we're playing at we're playing the after party of this con this week or next weekend. That's like a cryptid themed kind of thing in Somerset, Kentucky. They have like a international paranormal museum, and they have like all these cryptid themed things, and so that Cthulhu mask that I was talking about, I'm probably gonna, because their actual like logo for the con has Cthulhu on it, and I'm like, well, I made this friggin' Cthulhu mask, I better wear it. But I was also thinking of making a Mothman costume for it. But
I actually never know what I'm gonna do in advance, which is like silly. But I'm usually dressed in like a vaguely spooky way. I feel like I at least have like a metal shirt on like 90% of the time. And then somehow it gets to Halloween and I'm just like, oh, I need to go a little harder than this. And I did not take the time to think, but I'll come up with something, I'm sure.
Well, you might,
you're on a countdown, dude.
Right.
You're on a countdown.
In the music video, you're going to be kind of a little bit of a vampire.
Vampire sort
There you go.
Interesting.
I mean, that's that's a good. You already have the costume.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of costume stuff all around the apartment.
Oh, sweet. Okay, you're gonna be set one way or the other.
Y'all.
Who?
Y'all.
Halloween?
Yeah, what's your Halloween costume?
What's your all's costume?
I'm gonna be a postman. Dude. We're aged out over here,
I'll
bro.
probably be
I'll
probably be a middle-aged bald guy.
If any of my kids go trick or treating at this point, I'm not going. They can drive themselves to trick or treat. I don't need to. I'm done. If they do that, they're on their own.
How about a good ghost story? Have you experienced a ghost? Have you seen any ghost?
Ghosts are scared
Tom,
of me
you got
for some
pointed
reason.
at on this,
Yeah.
bro.
Ghosts don't like me. I don't know why. I want to see one, and I think that they're like, oh, you want it too bad.
You won.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have a good one to mind.
Oh, you have several, huh?
The guy that used to.
Oh, yeah, that was. Are you thinking when we lived at Joe's place? There was apartment we lived in when I was a kid where there was a guy that would sort of walk through like the kitchen area, like going through to the bathroom, and he would kind of disappear at the bathroom. And he did it just like, it would be, I don't know, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., like late. But yeah, it was kind of a regular thing. But
Did you ever make eye contact with him? Or?
I don't remember him ever like looking at anybody or reacting to anything. It was almost like a recording, like it was just like an echo of a thing. Yeah, he was just stuck on a track. Like this guy needed to pee so bad.
In the afterlife, he just had to pee.
He would just go to the bathroom.
He wasn't scared. He just really had to piss.
But your brother.
Oh, yeah. My brother at some point set up a chair to like sit in his path, and the guy walked through him. This was all when I was pretty young, so like I might be getting details a little bit hazy, but yeah, there was he was just there, and there's not much you can really do with it.
This guy lives in our house, or it doesn't live, I guess.
Well, since we're talking ghost stories, let's talk ghost stories. You ready?
You got one?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
Oh,
One of the scariest.
I lived with a ghost for 18 years.
I was going to say one of the scariest houses I've ever been in was the old studio at Brad Weston's house, about 10 houses down from here. So, long time ago, before your house was built, there was a house there that burned down. And father-son passed away on the property that used to be at the studio that was at our house. And, that was at your house, not our house. It
was your house sometimes.
It felt like my house sometimes. The last 6 months of you living there definitely kind of felt like my house. But so every time I was down there, there was nothing. It didn't feel weird. It was fine. It was totally good. But there was always a little like, well, it's kind of crazy. Feels something. And there, when my youngest kid, who's now 17 years old, was probably 6 or 7, we were down there.
Maybe that old.
He might not have been that old. Yeah. We were down there for either Thanksgiving Eve party. I think it was probably Thanksgiving Eve party because Brad we'd throw down. We'd go downstairs and there's a stage and we'd rock out as long as we could until everybody couldn't take it anymore. And then
just enough to make everyone's Thanksgiving miserable.
Yeah, everybody woke up feeling like dog shit the next day, going, God, we should have stayed up till 3 a.m. at the Westin. So. But there was one evening, my youngest, like I said, 17 now, and senior in high school, was there, and they were all playing up in Tia's room, which was upstairs, not the studio room, which was Brent's room, but one of the other rooms up on there. And in that room, you all create a little hideaway.
Well, actually, he took his shoes off in the bonus room.
The bonus room?
Over the garage.
Okay.
His shoes were in that room.
All right, so his shoes were in that room, but so that's where the room he didn't want to go in?
You told him, Ethan, go get your shoes. It's time to go home.
He said,
And he said, no. And Neil said, go get your shoes. He said, no, there's a little boy in there. I don't know.
That's where that boy is. I ain't going in there.
Oh.
So he wouldn't go upstairs to get his shoes. So that was when he was a kid. So the last, anytime we'd go up, I was at Brad's for this, podcast, about the first 3.5 years, almost 4 years the podcast was in the old Brent's room. We turned into the Studio A, right? Studio A.
Yep.
So the last 6 months or so, Brad and Cindy had bought the house in North Dakota and were up there. Grandbaby was born. And I'd have to go in, and it was generally me and Spencer, or me and Spencer and Earl, or at first it was me and Brent.
I didn't know it was haunted, or I would not be doing it.
I'm telling you, bro. Many a days I would go up there and I would open the door and I would keep my head as straight and down as possible, because I knew if I got to the top of the steps and looked right, there was going to be a little boy looking at me. And I would go left and I'd shut the door and I'd get in there and I'd close the other door and I'd just focus. And
He was friendly.
But I swear every 50% of the time that I was there, I had chills on my body.
Oh my God.
And would either be freezing or know that there's something behind you. I mean, you might not see it, but there's something up here. It was never a fear. I never felt like I was getting ready to die. But when I walked out of that house, I didn't look back. I walked fast. I made sure to shut off the lights, close that door, lock it up, and jet without going. Looking back at the window.
But Molly, I'm like you. I lived there 18 years. I never got to see him.
Really?
I'm the only one in the family that never saw him.
Yeah, everybody else did. I mean, I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, even the neighbor across the street. We came home one time and the police were there. And, no, they weren't there, were they? So my neighbor called me and said, Brad, there's somebody in your house. And I said, there is. He said, I said, how do you know? He said, I saw them look out through the shades, split the shades and look out. And so... we called you. You went up there. We ended up, who called the police? The police got there. So we called the police. Anyway, to make a long story short, of course, there wasn't anybody in there. But my neighbor said, I know you think I'm crazy, but I saw the shade split. And then I thought I might have seen something. So I waited, and they did it again.
Oh, my God.
And it was about that tall off, that high off the ground.
I'm telling you. It was real. And it was... I
didn't mean to get us on ghost stories.
No, this is great, man. This is a Halloween episode, bro. This is what we're here for.
So I got another thing, though. My wife, this was the best, though. That's why I asked Tom about it, if he ever made eye contact. So she was laying on the couch, and I was like, Cindy, you sure you didn't fall asleep? Were you having a dream? Or she said, no, I was not asleep. But she was laying on the couch. It's a vaulted ceiling, and there's a walkway across, and so we had a Cocker Spaniel for years, and the Cocker Spaniel always looked at the walkway from one side to the other. He'd just real quick look up and go from one side to the other, and there'd never be anything up there you'd see. He saw something. But then my wife was laying on the couch, and she said she heard somebody run down the stairs. So she thought it was Tia, her daughter, or somebody. So she looks around in the hallway, and the little boy comes running straight at her, and she had seen him before, so she knew what it was. She knew it was the ghost. Came running straight at her, but this is the first time he saw her, like the dimensions crossed or something.
Oh, wow.
So he saw her, and he looked at her, and she looked at him, and he was like, what are you doing here? What's going on here? And then she said he ran and jumped in. So we actually had two ghosts, because he jumped in like grandma or somebody's lap that was sitting in the chair by the window.
Whoa.
Nope.
So, hey, I tell you right now, it's legit, because you get a feeling. There's no doubt about it that when there is a presence or an energy or whatever it is, there is a feeling that goes through you or over you or something that you can't explain, and
He never intentionally scared anybody?
Nope.
Or never broke anything? Or?
Nope. Never an issue. But I don't know. What is that?
Yeah.
I never got to sing.
It's real.
Next
Never
album.
got to
Next
sing.
album. Write about that, would you?
The top hill ghost.
My grandmother's law firm had the same thing, and it's actually in a book. It's in a Ghost of Old Louisville.
Oh, the
okay.
David
And you can
Domine book or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And long story short, it was a speed mansion. The wife was a music teacher and taught piano and violin. And she drowned in the bathtub because she fell asleep. And the bathtub and everything is still there. It was never touched or moved. And whenever that big ice storm came through in like 2009, 2010,
Right.
that was the only place where my family could go to have, like power and heat and stuff like that. Well, we're all sleeping in the library, and then their piano starts playing. Well, it's an electric piano, and it was unplugged.
Dun, dun,
And my
dun,
dad heard it. My dad heard it. He
Oh
woke
my
us up. And he was like,
God.
and he thought it was me playing the piano. and so like he got up and he just like slapped me in the chest real hard because I was like laying in my sleeping bag.
That's abuse.
And that's abuse. And then all of a sudden, the dog walks up and there's a person standing in like the library entrance because there's a massive library there. And the piano was in the library. And so, yeah, like we all freaked the fuck out. And then we went to my grandma Ewing's house for the rest of the time. Because we were all like, nope, we're out. We're leaving. We're done with this.
If I'm correct, sir, you just explained a scene from Don Knotts' Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
What is that? What is that?
Have you not seen that?
Come on, bro. The Ghost of Mr.
I've
Chicken
never
is the
seen
best,
that one either, but I think
I've
we
never
talked
seen
about
that.
it
It's
when
an
we were
excellent
talking
movie.
about references for our music
Yeah,
video.
we're using. That was one of the things I had in mind when we were starting on the music video. I was like, "This is the vibe I want." It's like Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Hell yeah. If you can pull that off in about 3.5 minutes, you nailed your video. There's no doubt about it. Unbelievable. All right, so I guess, what we really need to know is you just released this Friday the 13th song. All right, you guys have just been just done this amazing 4-song set that was beautiful. Hopefully that's released next because I do think that it's going to be awesome. It sounded amazing in this room.
Thank you.
What do we have coming up next?
We have a few songs written.
Several.
Yeah, several. Yeah, we're always writing faster than we can actually record.
Especially you.
Yeah. So yeah, we're probably gonna have more singles on the way. I'm gonna guess like November or December, probably.
Yeah.
And the one we just put out is probably gonna go on an EP sometime like early next year with a bunch of other.
Yeah, I think that in the spring we'll have an EP, and we might have a separate little EP.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we've got a couple different things.
Yeah, we try
Right.
to like a bunch songs together by like like sort of vibe, how they fit together. It's a shame that like streaming doesn't really emphasize like albums or EPs as much. It's more
Yeah.
about singles. But like we do try to like package things in a way that's like, well, if you like this one, you'll probably like these other ones. So
All right, so I got a kind of question about that. And so with Molly's Midnight Villains, everything has not, so, but it's theme-ish. It has a vibe, a sound. And coming from, folk music and other things that you did, and then do you have other stuff that sounds totally different than what you're doing here that you're kind of like is on the side somewhere that you're writing these tunes that sound totally different than this thing? I mean, does that go on as well?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we have some stuff that's like older that never got recorded, and some just a couple songs here and there, but that we used to play for shows and that maybe doesn't really fit the vibe anymore. And we had never really gotten a chance to record it. And by the time we got to recording, it was like, oh, this isn't really what we're doing anymore. So
Because I wonder, like with with the ease of because you have so much material and all the other things you're working out, but with the ease of the ability to release music these days, I almost wonder. I was just asking that because Molly's Midnight Villains could be this, and then like Molly could be the other stuff. So I was just wondering if there was some other stuff that was going on.
Yeah, we've
outside
got
of
like
that.
a couple coming down the line that like we sort of wound up release separately. And we don't really do like a lot of like, I guess, like overtly political songs. I guess everything's political in its own way, but like we do have like a few in light of recent events, sort of like please stop bombing children type of songs.
Yes.
Pretty good request.
Yeah.
Reasonable as hell.
Yeah. I feel like those are kind of gonna go off on their own because they're not exactly party songs.
Well, and not exactly really even, Molly's Midnight Villains generally is more, the lyrics are a little bit more symbolic and stuff like that, where these are a little bit more on the nose.
More literal.
And, I'm fine with that, but I feel like they belong on their own separate sort of recording. So we have like two songs that probably will go on their own little.
It's kind of like, I feel like this, I don't know if you're going to do folk music or Americana music at all. There's sort of a responsibility to say something to the effect of
speak for the little guy.
People,
I don't know. To some extent.
Yeah, it would be weird not to. And in terms of our like folk influences, we'll have a very political sort of stuff that we listen to. Going back to Phil Oakes or even like Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie and all that stuff, so
great references.
Sweet. So we have a little bit of that in us.
You got options. It sounds like you got options, which is great. All right, so for all our listeners and viewers that want to find you, want to listen to the new single, want to see the video that hopefully is out by this the 25th of October, I think we're at when we release this, where can they find you?
Well, the video will be on YouTube for sure.
Yeah. And people can find us on Instagram and Spotify, Apple Music, all that sort of stuff.
Tidal and Deezer or whatever streaming things that you listen to.
There are two people on the planet that use Deezer.
It's big in other countries, I think. We are on Facebook as well, but Instagram's kind of our main squeeze.
Yeah, that's the main thing right now.
Okay. All these Midnight Villains, pretty simple. I don't think there's two. There's just
not
the
anybody
one, right?
else that's called Molly's Midnight Villains.
All right. Well, we'll make sure that we direct traffic in that way. What about you, Spencer? What you got, buddy?
Just Spencer.Corbin on Instagram for any luthier fixing needs.
All right, swing that mic over to Mr. Earl.
Oh, yeah, he helped me out just the other day. Before a show,
he's good, man.
He works on my guitars too. Works on everybody's.
Earl, what about you, brother?
Yeah, Earl Bowman, music anywhere. And it takes, if you like what you heard tonight from anybody, from the podcast, from these folks, just hit subscribe, hit like. It just takes a second. Follow them.
And it's important.
It is important. It's the easiest way to support what we're doing is just to,
for sure,
more than just listening, just hit subscribe, hit follow to you all. Because it doesn't seem like a big deal, but even when you go to book shows, people look at your followers and stuff. So if you like what you hear,
that's true.
Give them a follow.
Absolutely. And I will say, I don't know what the I can't think of the word, what you're thinking about the album release, but at this point you might have another single released yourself. But regardless, make sure you find Earl Bowman music on Spotify as well. It's Molly's Midnight Villains. Brad, what about us, man? Where can they follow us?
We are at Top Hill Recording on just about everything.
Woo!
All right. YouTube us, Instagram us, do all that stuff, and do the damn thing, man. We need you.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, we really appreciate you. It was an amazing night.
Thank
Our
you.
Halloween
Thank you.
episode.
Yeah.
Pumpkin included. Appreciate you. Until next time, y'all. Thank you.